Kia ora tātou, welcome back to War Gaming Den. It's been a while, but today I have a game of Kings of War for you. My Ogres are taking on Gordon's Riftforged Orcs. We're playing at 2,300 points. The mission we're playing is Protect and Raze, and it is 4th edition. Gordon is back playing Kings of War, which is really good to see. And we've had 2 games in the last couple of weeks, and my Ogres have got absolutely stomped by the Riftforged Orcs. So made a couple of tweaks to the list I have been running, and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. So this is the first time ever that I've run a Grok Amok. I've never run a exploding dice kind of character before. I've been running this last couple of games, a Goblin Bigot on a wolf, Fleabag Rider or whatever, with a slashing blade. He's my slow down a big nasty unit in a hurry. He's got a move of 20. I've got a Berserker Bully, Hunter Regiment with Sugis's boots, 2 warrior regiments and 2 warrior troops. This is the bit that's been changed a wee bit. I was running a couple of boomer regiments, but I've decided to change that up. I've painted some really nice avatars of war goblins lately, so I'm taking a scout troop and a scout regiment of red goblins. Very cool figures. Got enough to do 4 troops, I think, but that may be a bit much. But I am trying to work on improving my use of chaff. So the 2 warrior troops I use as chaff as well as the scout troop. These guys hopefully are able to charge in against some wounded guys later on. This is the big change. I've added a shooter regiment rather than the boomers. I've really struggled against the long range lightning bolts of Gordon in the last couple of games, and chucking a shooter regiment into some bad going and then just shooting as long as possible might be a solution. They hit on 6s, 5s if they stand still. A warrior chariot regiment. I've been using this a couple of games now and really quite impressed with it. 15 attacks, Thunder 2, crushing 1 if I can avoid bad going. It does the business, and a single siege breaker regiment with the blessing of the gods to give them elite. So quite happy with the way the list has been evolving. The core of it stayed pretty similar, but just tweaking around the edges each game. Let's have a look at Gordon's list now. Right, and here is Gordon's list that has given me conniptions the last couple of games. He's got a Stormbringer on a Hellstriker that is his Warlord, and he's got the Blade of Slashing. He's got a Riftforger, which is a foot champion, 3 Riftforged Legionaries regiments, and 1 Horde. That's his solid anvil that holds up 1 flank, and then he goes to town with his Strike Force, which is the 2 Hellstriker regiments and the 2 Gore Rider regiments. Flying in speed 18 on the Hellstrikers. They're a handful, and the Gore Rider regiments are there to add support. Add the Warlord, and they're a real handful. And the other thing he's got a shrine that I think it's lightning bolt 10 or 12, but it has a chain lightning thing, so any hit caused can bounce onto a nearby unit within 6 inches, which just adds even more chipping damage onto nearby units, which is very good. And 2 of the Amaraks, which are monsters that I think they're a D3 dice each, or maybe a D 3 attacks, or maybe 6 attacks. No, 3 attacks, but they are exploding, so D3 blast for each hit, and they've got a range of 30, so they are quite a handful as well. So yeah, as I said, I like the balance between he's got his solid infantry, but he's got a very powerful and dangerous mobile strike force with flying as well. So yeah, I've really struggled to deal with this army the last couple of games. We'll see if we do any better today. And apologies, you can't really see my deployment too well. Objectives. 1, that's the center one. 2, 3 for Gordon, and I've got 1, 2, 3 over here. So he's put that one wide to force me to go wide because he knows my Ogres try to stay all together. Okay, so he's got his 3 infantry regiments he always puts together. He's got Gore Riders behind him. So I've got to get through them as quickly as I can to try and turn his flank. His other mobile flank, he's got the Hell Strikers out here with the Gore Riders and the Stormbringer. What have I got facing them? Really? A single unit of scouts and a bigot that's going, yeah, that's not a good idea. So Gordon's going to try and swing around this flank, I would guess. I've got my shooters sitting in a pond. They want to fire as many turns as they can. I've broken into 2 battle groups. This one is led by the bully. I've got the troop of warriors in the front. Then I've got the warriors and the siege breakers behind. And I've got the scout troop hiding further back because he has got spells. And then around here I've got the other warrior troop, and behind them are the hunters. The idea being that the warriors are going to go this way. The hunters are going to get into this terrain and help whichever of the 2 battle groups. Then I've got the chariots right out wide with the warrior regiment beside them, and Grok is in behind there as well. So that is our deployment. Let's have a look at turn 1. Okay, Gordon got the first turn, moved forward with his Hell Strikers over here, and his Gore Riders are down here. My Scout Regiment are down here, so he's out of sight. He's in contesting range but can't grab that objective at all. Next turn, Hell Strikers over here. The Riftforged Legionnaires have advanced, as did the Shrine. Amorites have got range already, so they just stayed where they were, and again advanced onto the hill over here with his Legionnaires, and the Gore Riders are tucked in behind. And just from a slightly different angle there, looking down the table. So what damage did he do? The troop of warriors were hit by a combination of the lightning from the shrine and the Amorixes. They took 4 damage, and then the lightning leapt over and did 2 on the goblins in the back there, which was a tad annoying. That's a really quite a handy spell effect. I think it's the shrine that does that. And as I said in the previous couple of games, I haven't been able to get close enough to disrupt the shrine. That's part of the reason actually I've taken the shooters, so I've got at least some kind of long range threat projection. Right, and how did I respond? Now I moved up here, stayed out of charge range of all these guys, apart from with the troop here. And what I was thinking is that these 2 units have unit strength of 3 each, not realizing that in 4th edition they now count as regiments and not hordes, so they're only unit strength 2 each. So what I should have actually done is thought about this a wee bit more, probably pushed even further forward to try and contest. See, I thought being here I was contesting enough, but as it turns out that these 2 guys are going to be able to come over here, and they'll have unit strength 4 versus my unit strength 2. Here the troop has been placed to kind of screen the hunters, and that's Grok there, and these guys are ready. So if Gordon charges in here, these guys are going to charge through. Could have angled them a bit more. I got a bit sneaky here as well. I moved as far as I could with the hunters into this area, ideally hoping that they're just going to be within range over here, or potentially could charge out this way. They've got Jesse's boots. As you can see here, they advanced with the troop of warriors to screen my siege breakers and warrior regiment, and tucking in the scouts, and that's the bully. Can't really see it over here. This is actually just at the start of Gordon's turn, but I actually shot and put about 4 or 5 wounds on the Hell Strikers with my shooters, and my regiment of cavalry, deciding that that's far too many flyers, came charging back down here at 20 inches and were just out of charge range of any of these guys. So definitely time to run away. Right, so Gordon advanced here. So there's an objective there. These two give him a unit strength 4 versus my 2. So he's able to claim this one. These guys are also just in range here. The Gore Riders would just had their leader point on the top of the hill so they could see over it and charge over, which they've done, and it's been a combination charge with the Legionnaires. So about 30 attacks that the troops going to go. The Gore Riders then advance. I think they go 3 inches and they just about touch Grok, which means that he's then got 4 unit strength here. And I think, and look, it's looking at it there, it looks pretty close, but I think I may have just been in contesting range of that objective with Grok. I thought he was only 1 unit strength. I think Gordon probably thought the same. So if he was in range, and I'm not convinced that he was, but if he was in range, it would mean that I'd still had 4 unit strength against Gordon's 4 unit strength. So actually that would have been a contested objective. But as I said, not 100% sure. Could have quite easily been just out of range. Can't quite recall that. But yeah, good move from Gordon. I should have probably pushed forward further to screen those objectives. I thought just being here would have been enough and then I charge on my turn, but Gordon just threw his guys forward. So good move from him. Bit of a learning opportunity for me there by that. But if I had pushed further over here, I would have had to have done it in such a way to minimize some of the attacks coming in as well. And I'm not sure whether or not I would have been able to do that anyway. Things going a bit pear-shaped in the middle as well, unfortunately. As you can see here, these guys have now taken 9 wounds and are wavered. That was from the lightnings, maybe from this guy, and also the goblin scouts were hit, I think probably from the exploding lightning things from these things, up to 11, and they were also wavered. So my plan had been for these guys to go charging forward, and these guys were definitely in range to try and close this thing down for once. But one thing Gordon hasn't noticed is I'm about 13.5 inches away there. Once in a while, just once in a while, I catch him out with a sneaky thing. So the hunters are actually able to hit the Legionnaire horde in the flank in my turn, which was quite nice. Yeah, and as you can see, the troops exploded here, and the Gore Riders advanced the full 3 inches, and they just hit Grok, and Grok just had the angle there to be able to turn and catch them in the flank with 14 exploding dice attacks, which was going to be very nice in my turn. And you can't really see the action over here, but he's sent over the Stormbringer, the Hellstrikers, the Gore Riders are further back, and I've actually turned to face with my shooters because I don't want these guys in the flank. And I think I even might have caused 4 wounds on my turn, but maybe I'm just getting a bit ahead of myself there. We will see. Okay, yeah, and here we go. So the they've turned to face. I've angled my warriors so that they're going to be angling through here and angling on the front. I should have probably, as it turned out, angled them a wee bit more, but as you can see, my whole line now has pivoted to try and face the threat from Gordon's fast moving flank. My bigot has charged in here to slow up the Hellstrikers for a turn. This was a bit of a mistake here. I just eyeballed where the Gore Riders were, and I didn't think they'd be able to get round and get at my Wolf Riders. What I should have done, because I was facing the other way, to actually just go back another 2 or 3 inches, then do my 90-degree, still well within charge range, because my plan had been try and slow these guys up. I put 4 or 5 wounds on them last turn, and then next turn hit them with the Wolf Riders to slow them up again, which might give the shooters a bit of breathing space. But because I didn't move a bit further back and I'm just within about 15 and a half inches in his turn, Gordon is able to go dink, do a single charge, hit these guys, and he routs them. Spoiler alert. And if that guy could have faced a wee bit more, still trying to keep these guys in the front arcs. I was really worried about the front arcs from both the Hellstrikers, the Stormbringer, and the Hellstrikers over there when I positioned those. The what are they? They're the Siege Breakers. Couldn't quite get close enough to hit the Riftforged in the front, but yeah, as I said, that Hunter's regiment, and I think they might have put 13 wounds on, not enough to kill, but cause a bit of damage. Here's Grok charging into the flank here of the Gore Riders. I think I ended up with 17 hits by the time the dice had exploded and destroyed them. These guys and also the Warrior Chariots just grind away at the 2 Legionnaires. So Gordon's trying to hold this flank, doing a pretty good job of it, while his fast moving troops are going to try and swing round. But I'm happy that I'm trying to counter that. And they're my 2 wavered units that didn't do much except just reposition where they were, and the bully being sneaky, wanting to charge over this way as well. And at the end of the turn, the Warriors must have spiked as well, because we've cleaned out the Legionnaires there. Grok has cleaned out the Gore Riders and then turned to face the other Legionnaires. When they charge them, they're going to be hindered. As I said, did about 13 wounds there, didn't kill those guys, and just trying to face the threats over here and slow them down briefly. And there they go there, just lurking on the hill, just within charge range of the Goblin Scout Regiment. So that was a bit of a mistake from my point of view. Okay, turn 3 was brutal. So here comes those Gore Riders, snuck through here. They did clip the terrain, then they turned to face into position, but they did a lot of wounds and killed. I think they might have done 7 or 8 and routed these guys, but only after the bigot had died. I hadn't quite spotted that was on the table, but he could definitely see it, definitely in range. So 36 attacks into the flank of the shooters, even though it is hindered, still took care of them. The storm, whatever he is, guy into the troop of warriors there. So yeah, a lot of action this turn. Things are definitely heating up. And from a slightly different angle. So yeah, there's those attacks you can see going in. Over here, the Legionnaires are attacking the hunters in the flank. These guys just stop to fire their spells. I'm up to 15 wounds on the on those guys already, so that's not looking good. And Grok, sorry, not Gak, Grok is taking on the Legionnaires there. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, so I basically lose half my army. Scout regiment dead, bigot dead, shooters dead, the scout troop dead, warrior troop dead, hunters dead. 6 out of 13 units taken out just like that. Holy moly, what a turn. Now I just want to go back a slide, because here we go. These are the the Hellstrikers charging in here into the flank. Now what we didn't do is mark their position before they did their pivot after turning from attacking these guys, because when I put these guys here, it was trying to get the angle across here and across there. And I think if I'd angled them slightly better, it would have been easier. But what happened here is we didn't measure the initial starting position. Gordon rotated them and thought that they were just out of my charge arc, and it was a bit of a not sure whether or not, because I thought if they turned, and it's a bit hard sometimes on these longer base, wider bases to get the positions exactly right, that I might have just clipped them. But as it turned out, the way it ended up, wasn't able to. So in my turn, rather than charging in here as I'd hoped to kind of screen this way, because I wasn't going to get a charge, the Bigot was dead, so potentially these guys were going to get charged by 2 units next turn. I decided instead that these guys were going to support the siege breakers and just charge over here. The thought being they're on 13 wounds already, and I think I killed them with these guys without the siege breakers even rolling their dice, as it turned out. But they could charge over, then I could turn to face the threat down this end. But what I'd originally hoped to have done is when these guys died, I was actually setting it up though for the Hell Strikers in the front, that they were going to be able to hit them in the flank. But yeah, as I said, couldn't quite, just the way they're positioned, just missed being able to see these guys, so I went that way instead, which was equally as useful a move for me to make. And although that turn was pretty catastrophic from my point of view, it wasn't all one-way traffic. I killed the horde there. These guys did then turn to face. That's the siege breakers, that's the warriors. Killed the character there and the legionnaires there. So I've now got an open way to swing round this way to get the objectives. Grok, poor little Grok. He only put 6 wounds on those guys, but in their turn, even though they were hindered, they did 8 wounds against him, which is pretty impressive because they only get 12 attacks, I think it is, charging through the woods on 4s. So definitely a very good roll there from Gordon. But yeah, so in that turn, Gordon lost 3 units, I lost 6. So definitely on the back foot a bit now. Right, so what happened turn 4? The Gore Riders ran over this way a wee bit to make sure they were able to get out of the way of the terrain. I think what happened here is the Stormbringer on the Hellstriker, and the Hellstrikers charged and destroyed the Warrior Regiment and then turned. I think that's what happened there, not 100% sure. The Legionnaires, after doing so well last turn, only did 2 extra wounds and rolled something like a 4 or 5, much to my relief, so I didn't quite lose Grok. And a few wounds, maybe 4 wounds from the shrine onto my bully there. And I think once again there weren't a lot of targets for the spells from Gordon. And in my time, Grok and the warriors close the door on the legionnaires there. They're going to die. Grab the objective there. Bully chipping away there, and can just see the siege breakers there charging the Stormbringer on Hellstriker. And it says 4 wounds there, but it's actually 14 wounds, and I double won it. So he then, not sure if it's a good thing or not, but he is preventing these guys coming through potentially. He is actually facing my guys. It's just the figure's too big for the base from memory. No, or these two double tag team him or something. I can't quite remember what's about to happen. But yeah, and more of the infamous Green Rage. Gordon tried to use Green Rage about 6 times and succeeded on every occasion, and it is a very, very handy ability, being able to add another wound attempt for each 6 rolled. You know, 3-4 extra hits is very, very handy. So it worked really well. Quite like that ability. And I got elite off a couple of times towards the end, but wasn't quite as successful. Okay, so killed the Legionnaires there. The Ogres turned to face. I'm just in charge range of the Orcs. Also killed the Shrine with the Bully. And these guys are ready to charge as well. But what I forgot is that these guys are height 4. And they can see the rear of the Bully. That's not good. And Grok, sitting on 10 wounds, decided to do the E Street Shuffle. And rolled a 5, I think, and he went 3 inches sideways to get into the bad going, into the woods there. So that double 1 there meant that those guys were stuck. Gordon still got 2 lots of Hell Strikers, the Gore Riders and the Amoraks. So I've managed to do a bit of damage, but he's definitely got the mobility advantage going into the last turn or so. Right, so the Siege Breakers died, the Bully died, and then Gordon positioned himself really well because I was in range of the Hell Strikers, even though it was going to be hindered. But he just put these guys in the front to make sure that I was going to hit one or both of the Amaruxes in my turn. So Grok is out of... I think Grok might just be in charge range of that one. Maybe. They definitely are, and they definitely are. So I've only got 3 units left. Gordon, though, has only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So doing a bit of damage to him. Okay, no point Grok moving out, so he just moved over here. The Hunters and the Warrior Chariots both killed the Amaroks, which leaves me facing Gordon's fast mobile wing. And I think he's on 14 wounds, got nothing to deal to him. He's got no wounds, and this one's got about 5. So not looking good as we head into turn 6. Okay, so the Hellstrikers charge into Grok, kill him. This was sneaky, I didn't quite see this one, but the Gore Riders charge through against the Warriors. They lose their Thunderous, but they still get 36 attacks, I think, and killed them. The other Hellstrikers and the Stormbringer go charging into my Warrior regiment. Looking definitely a bit grim. Goodbye Grok, goodbye Warriors. 8 wounds on the Chariots as well. So I haven't got a great deal left. And I decide in my turn, this guy was on 14 wounds, so let's kill him. And at the end of Gordon's turn 6, he had 44 seconds left for a turn 7. So ran his clock pretty close to the wire. I've got about 20 minutes left there. And yes, I did kill the Stormbringer on Hellstriker. Unfortunately though, I rolled for a turn 7. At the end of turn 6, I had 2. Gordon had 3 because he'd blocked me from getting to my last objective over here. Turn 7, he just has to move over here. They're likely to die anyway. So it's going to be 5 to 2, I think was the final score. So we bit one side. That turn 3 was a bit of a disaster. Made a couple of mistakes there. The letting the regiment of Goblin Cavalry get charged was definitely not ideal. But even so, I did manage to kind of turn to face the threat of the Hell Strikers, while also just trying to quickly decimate the other flank, and Gordon was in return trying to hold that flank and slow me up. So it was it was a fun battle. At the end of turn 3, I thought, oh my god, I'm third game in a row I'm going to be totally wiped the floor with. But my turn 3 and 4, I managed to fight my way back into it a little bit. Still struggling to deal with the speed of the Hellstrikes. Yeah, I've got Goblin Cavalry, they're a bit faster, but those 2 units plus the Stormbringer and the Gore Riders, definitely a handful. I thought I did better with them today. Happy overall, but yeah, made a few mistakes. A couple of mistakes based around the new edition, like whether or not Grok was contesting that objective. As I said, I wasn't 100% sure. Can't remember what we measured it as, but I forgot that he is unit strength 2 now. And on the other hand, also forgot that the warriors are now regiments and not hordes, so that was a bit of counting against me the other way. But overall, a bit of a good close battle, the closest it's been against these guys so far, so maybe I am improving. It's good to see Gordon back rolling dice regularly now that he's over his health concerns, so that's really good to see, and looking forward to having another game later in the week. And I've also actually just started a new project which I will show you on the very last slide. Right, so a few weeks back, Mark and Christchurch ran a little ambush weekend. We had 3 games over the day, and the third battle, my Ogres got totally cleaned up by a very nice elf army, all 3D prints by a new player in Christchurch, which is great to see new players playing. But it's inspired me to want to get my elves out again, but redo them. So over the last day or so, I've painted up a couple of regiments of Palace Guard using the Highland miniatures. They're kind of Greek-inspired elves. So that's the start of my new elf army that I hope to have on the table in the next wee while. So stay tuned to hopefully see some battle reports coming up with them once I've got another 9 or 10 units painted up. But we're underway. Anyway, that's all for today. Until next time, ka kite anō. Take care. Have a great weekend.